Hi, Richard. I want to say thanks and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. We're here to talk about your book, Cancers End, 2 Months to Live.
Mm-hmm.
What I want you to do is tell me a little bit about what it was like to have that diagnosis and then how that led to writing this book.
Wow. At first I think that I have spent so much of my life nurturing others. So when I got the diagnosis, I was, of course, it feels like something really deep is creeping into your soul. It's a hurtful, thing to hear from anyone. And then right away, of course, my parenting goes into effect, and I think about the people in my family that I love or my friends that I care about deeply, how it's going to affect them. But I think for anyone that gets the diagnosis, of course, the first thing you think of, my first question was, well, how long do I have to live? How long am I going to be on this earth? And that was the first thing out of my mouth at that point.
So 2 months, you hear this incredibly short number. How did that hit you? What was your response internally?
Oh, God, it was rough. The doctor initially had said, I wasn't going to make it through the night, but with chemo, I would live 2 months. And it was like, well, why even live then? Why even do this? And I kind of smirked at him. And I was like, well, let's do it. And he goes, well, you got to make it through the night first. And I was like, I could do that. So I was like, let's do this. And we did it. And, it's been an ongoing battle off and on. But,
What went through your mind in that process when you were like, I'm going to make it through the night so that I can maybe live 2 more months? Did you want to do more things with your family? Did you want to anything come to you?
I was questioning more of, did I do enough for everyone? It wasn't even about myself. And then the fear set in. And there's 5 stages we go through when fighting cancer, and there's no initial this is the first step, second step, third, fourth, or fifth. Every time you fight cancer, it's different, and each stage comes at a different time. Initially, I was scared. I was scared of not waking up the next morning, and did I tell everyone I loved them? So there was a lot of emotion, a lot of emotion.
And you have children.
I have children.
What did you think about your children in that moment?
I think I was worried about whether or not they were ready to face the world without me, because as we know with children, when they're adults, mine are adults, but are they really ready? Did I do enough as a parent? And so I was scared for them, and I needed to know that they knew I loved them before I left.
At what point in the process did you decide you were going to start writing a book about your experience? Or was it more organic than that? Did you just start writing and then?
Actually about a week after going into it, I was a little delusional at that point. And one of my aunts had came to see me, and she brought I forgot what the book was, but it helped me to start writing again. And I've written poetry since I was like 8. And so about a week and a half after is when I really started writing my thoughts and kind of dotting them down. And it really helped me gain inner strength. I'm a strong person already, but to be at a stage 4 cancer and to be told that there is really not a lot of options for you, it's rough. It's rough. And so writing kind of rescued me.
Can you say a little bit more about how? What was it about the writing that helped you get through it?
I had to face a lot of things about everyone around me, and I had to really open my eyes and my heart. And in doing so, you open your soul, and you become vulnerable. And I think the vulnerability helped me really focus more on different aspects of my life and different emotions and who was a part of it and who wasn't. So you have to get real deep. In order for me to be open to that, I myself had become vulnerable. So that, I think, helped me instead of hurting me.
Tell us a little bit about what's in the book. What is it comprised of?
The book has, of course, 2 little short stories of my battle and coming out of remission. It talks about not dealing with stress, but also in a sense how I kind of opened the door to allow certain people in my life that I had to push out.
Yeah.
And I had to relive events. And there's 50 poems that basically give the storyline as well. And it talks about family, friends, my mother. There was a point when I had a mild stroke, and there's some memory loss, and I had to relive her murder. So it was rough. It was rough, but the book itself really isn't just about my personal battle, but I wanted to give people some knowledge back to them, to get them to understand what it's really about. Because when I talk to people and I go and try and talk to them about building a support system, which is really important in fighting cancer, I find that their supporters do not know what's going on or how to react to them. And so my thing is this, if you cannot be unselfish, then don't even try and be at their side, because really what someone needs is fighting cancer is complete unconditional love and support. And you have to be willing to be unselfish and allow the person fighting cancer to just do and take the steps that they need to. And it's hard for people, because people that support us are going through our same stages. The only difference is it's harder on them, I think, because they don't understand what we're going through, and we can feel it. We're living it. They live by seeing through our eyes. And so I wanted to write the book and tell my story, but I wanted to help people. I wanted to, I'm hoping this book would touch at least one person's life, and really get them to open their hearts, and maybe even other people to realize that we still need help within the cancer communities, because there's so many different cancers out there. And I think that we've kind of forgotten that there's not just, Hodgkin's lymphoma or breast cancer or brain cancer or liver cancer. There are so many different types of cancers. And I'll tell you, Jordan, if a child, they can't even spell the word cancer, could go through this rough battle, then I continue to fight cancer as well, because the children out there are my shining stars. They keep me wanting to live.
Is there a part of you then that hopes to inspire other cancer patients to do a similar process, write about their experience, tell their story?
I think it's important to. A matter of fact, I know it is. We as human beings need to tell our stories and need to relate to one another in order to learn from our experiences. And that's how we help each other, and that's what this book's about. It's about helping. It's about knowledge, and at the same time, the poetry tells my story, but it also, says, hey, open your heart, feel. And I think that some people become numb, and they forget how to feel. And I want my battle, my journey to tell people that it's okay to feel those emotions. The fear is going to be there, but you don't walk away from people you love. And there may be a stranger on the street that might need our help. So why not help? It's important. It really is.
I think you've already told me in some ways, but tell me a little bit about how you feel cancer has, maybe what lessons you've taken away from it, how it's changed your life. I hate to say for the better, because I know it's been a painful process, but
it's been a painful process. But at the same time, I've never let cancer define me. And I think the important thing is that you learn to define yourself. But cancer has forced me into a corner where it's necessary to see life differently. And like the poem Colors in a Tree, what that basically is descriptive of is being able to see the life in the colors. Not just looking at a tree, but really, really, really feeling it and hearing its breath. And so, life's deeper for me now. Life has always been deep, but now cancer's really forced me to live life and not let it live me. And that's something I always tell people, live life. Do not let life live you. What I mean is, enjoy every minute and every second of the day. Because, tomorrow you may not wake up. And, when you're going to that next plateau, wherever it might be, you're going to look back and think, wow, did I do everything that I said I would, or did I feel every emotion that was meant for me to feel on this earth?
Right.
And it's really important. It's important to me to pass it along to other people. And what's really sad is some people just live life never really knowing what their purpose is. And it's great, live life, yes, but at the same time, they're not opening their eyes and their heart to it. And you need to. And not let something like this force you to it. I've had a rough background as a child, so I always had to see past that and see the light at the end of the tunnel, or, see the end of that rainbow. And now fighting cancer even more aggressively has, you could say that it's forced me in a sense to even see life even at a different level. And each time there's different plateaus that occur, but it doesn't break me. I won't let it.
Good.
Yeah.
4 years ago is when they told you you had 2 months to live, right?
Absolutely.
So, and you also reached a point of remission, didn't you not?
I did.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what it felt like to have that moment of remission, and then how you're feeling about where you are now.
I didn't even know I was in remission. At the time, it was crazy. I was going through 5 days of chemo, 24 hours a day at the time. And I had been transferred up here, and the reason I was transferred to Northern California from San Diego VA was because I was given a choice. Either I was going to be put into a home to live my last days, because they still didn't believe I could survive this, or I could go with my sister, so that I'm with someone that loves me, and spend my last days with someone that's very close to me. And I was still not accepting of oh, I'm going to die. That's not something we should ever accept, because there's still things to do. And so anyways, came up here, and I was admitted into the VA, and Stanford supervised my care. Phenomenal oncologist. Great. And I was really blessed with some very talented and skilled hands, and there was a purpose for me to be up here. That's the way I see things. There's always purpose, there's rhyme and reason why we go where we're going. And so when I came up here, I was given an option. I chose my sister, of course, and continued chemo, and to their surprise, I went into remission. It is crazy, because my doctor walks in the hospital room one day and goes, "How are you doing?" And we're talking. I go, "Hey, can you tell me something? When am I going to go into remission?" And she smiles at me, and she goes, "You're already in remission." And so I kind of giggled, and I was like, well, then why am I on chemo still? Because I didn't quite understand, if I was in remission, why are we doing such aggressive chemo still? And because I was at stage 4 and the cancer was just everywhere, I kept having so many complications. So they wanted to reassure that the cancer wasn't going to come back again. And of course, it did.
How long has it been? How long were you in remission until the cancer came back?
5 months.
5 months.
5 months.
Was there any difference? Did you feel different in that period of time when it was in remission?
Well, the recovery process is hard with cancer, and your body goes through so many changes. I was already pretty much feeling some disabilities I didn't like. My mind was back and forth with memory, and there's a thing called there's something called chemo brain, where you start feeling symptoms of dementia in a sense. And they're starting to do more studies on it. They're reversible, some are irreversible. It really has a lot to do with age, and really how much you want to fight for it. And I wanted to fight. I knew the cancer was back, though, because I know my body.
You could feel it.
Yeah, I could feel it.
How do you feel when it comes back? Tired?
I was exhausted. I almost felt like when I would eat something, I felt like I didn't eat. I felt like I was starving. And I knew at that point that obviously the cancer was back and it was feeding off of everything it could. And I didn't quite think of, how important it is to put better things into your system that the cancer can't feed off of. I was just starving. And we went back in, and I did a PET scan, did a biopsy, and I got that call on It was the day after New Year's. I remember it really well. And my doctor said, hey, you need to come in early in the morning. We had to start aggressive chemo again. And started the rice treatment and started the battle again. And I started writing more.
I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
how do you get through when I imagine it's a little bit of a downer to go from being like, okay, cancer's away for now.
You know, my friends and family encourage me in their actions. And so when I see reaction or I hear how they're reacting with their life, that encourages me. And I'm like, okay, well, let me write about it then.
Yeah.
Because it affects me. And so if I'm feeling something, it's really easy to write, especially coming from a poetic sense. It's easy to really write and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling and this is what I have to say. And at the time, when I was fighting cancer at that point, my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and she came to live with me. And my sister, we worked together in helping her. She came from a very bad situation.
Wow.
And she was abused.
Wow.
And so we're able to kind of give her life back. So that inspired me as well. But at the same time, it also brought a lot of stress that was hurting me and was affecting me as far as the cancer. And it wasn't healthy for me. So there was a lot to write about. I had 2 family members that really inspired me because when the anger came, they did some things that weren't acceptable in my life regarding my grandmother. And so I wrote about it. And so the poetry, in a sense, was helping me.
Yeah.
Do
you want to read one of your poems?
Sure.
Is there one that you could flip to and?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that would be a nice way to let people, have a taste of your book.
Not a problem.
I think poetry. Sometimes people think of poetry as being something high and literary that people can't relate to, but I think I think the best poetry is, cuts right through the middle and speaks to people directly.
And it's true because poetry and also is understood very differently, very, very different.
Also,
there's one poem, it's actually quite long, but
I'll read part of it.
how about no.
Not that one?
No. There is one I would like to read. Let me find it.
All right. Sorry, I caught you off guard, but
No, it's fine.
I was
It's
thinking we
fine.
need to hear some of it.
Actually, this one is called The Cure.
Okay.
Okay? And we wait the cure. So many impatiently wait. We gave up at times. The cure is here. Just believe in me. We await the cure. Cancer cannot win. Speak of this, write a passage. Speak of words so strong. We wait, but please never give up. Truly, we have to believe. The cure is here. Fall to your knees. Pray for it. Pray for him. Pray for her. Pray for all the children of the world. The cure is within our grasp. All we have to do is just believe.
Tell me about it.
This was one of the poems I didn't really summarize too much about, and what I was really talking about wasn't chemo, wasn't radiation, wasn't the pills to help with infection or anything that occurs while you're going through this battle. This was about, we all have different beliefs, and spiritually, you have to find yourself within that reach, and that's what I was talking about. I was talking about carrying it through your spiritual connection, but having faith and believing. And I think that a lot of us, I myself, I lost faith at one point when my mother was murdered. And then 2 years after that, my son had passed away. So it was like really rough. So, you're doing this. Yeah. And then, I'm very proud of the man I've become and my accomplishments in life. But then when you're fighting cancer, you really better find a spiritual connection, whether you believe in God or another almighty power. Have that faith and find a way to fight it and win, because the cure doesn't necessarily have to be chemo or radiation. I truly believe that there are greater powers that can cure you. And so that's what that poem really is about. And, not just curing the cancer, but also curing your state of mind and open your heart to it.
Do you feel like spiritually you're at a place where anything could happen? You could completely be cured, you could get sicker. How do you feel? Where are you at with your cancer right now?
Well,
I know you're human, so you have a range of feelings. I don't, I'm just curious.
no, it's fine. You know what scares me the most now is that I'm finally okay with it. I'm at a point in my life where I'm not scared of death anymore. And I'm finally just relieved. So if I go, I go. I actually look forward to that day. I'm not ready for it, but I'm not scared of it. So that does scare me even more because it's like I still want to live, but
it's a paradox, right? To want to live and not be afraid of death.
Absolutely, and a lot comes with age too.
Yeah.
I'm also I'm 41 years old, so I'm so much more mature than I was a few years back. Us men grow up slower than women.
Some.
Yeah, but I mean, I've had an interesting life. I've had a lot of accomplishments, and I'm not done with that. Matter of fact, my partner and I are doing we're trying to raise money because of the extra expenses of the bone marrow transplant. But in doing so, when I survive this, because I will, I believe I truly will. Spiritually, I know I will.
Yes.
And my doctors believe in me, and that's the important part, is that they believe also.
Yes.
So I have phenomenal oncologists that do.
That's fabulous.
But afterwards, we're going to start an organization that will help other families also.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that the most wonderful part about your book is that its potential to help and inspire other people. I mean, like you said, I think it can be incredibly lonely. From outside, it looks like it could be really lonely to go through this, and here's a possible opportunity for people to not feel so alone.
It absolutely is, and there are patients out there that do not have the support system. So I encourage people, go get out there, go to cancer centers, and even if you don't know a person, go find out how you could sit at someone's bedside and just talk to them, and write letters to cancer patients. Do whatever it takes to help them build a support system, because support's really important in fighting. I have a phenomenal support system, and it's probably as a matter of fact, I'm not going to say probably, it is one of the most important reasons why I have survived, and it's the reason why I'm going to still survive.
Yeah.
But get out there and help people, because it is a lonely road. It truly is, and I hope that people understand that. I really do.
Do you have any, I don't know, sort of tricks or tips you've used? Like, I know I read about, I forget who now, a man who got cancer and then proceeded to just watch funny movies for like 2 years, just like the power of laughter. Have you tried anything that's helped you, that might help someone else in the same situation?
You know what? Don't take life for granted, and definitely laugh. Laughter heals. Laughter truly heals. And you know what? If you love something,
do it.
Go for it. You live once in a lifetime, and if we live more than that, only God knows. But the bottom line is, laugh, live, and just make things happen. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot do it. The sky's the limit. But definitely, laughter really does heal, and we laugh a lot, so.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah, there's a whole kind of yoga called laughter yoga that's based on that whole premise.
I got to try that.
You do. Eileen teaches it.
We got to do that.
I wanted to ask you one last thing. Are you working on another book or another
series
of writings?
I'm starting to work on something now, and it's really more about learning to love again, because a lot of times, I'm very blessed. I'm blessed with the person that's in my life, extremely. But a lot of times I think that we get so caught up on so much. Our lives are so busy. And I want people to understand that, it's okay to love. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't be scared of it. So, I'm working on that right now. And That'll be interesting. And after that, I plan on writing about my mom's death, untimely
yeah,
death.
that sounds profound.
Oh, absolutely.
Has your family read this book?
Actually, some of the family they have read it.
Yeah.
Some family members, they tear.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of responses to. I mean, they're proud of it, but at the same time, they're understanding now a little better, and
What
I
you
think
went
that
through.
helps. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you've gained a lot in putting your words on paper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
really
have they,
have.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want them to help other people. That's what's important
Yeah.
to me.
It's sort of like your pay it forward, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Excellent. And anything you would change, or are you pretty much happy with your life?
I have no regrets.
No.
You know, I think as a young child, I might have had regrets, but as you grow, you look back and you say, "Hey, what have I learned from this lifetime?" You can't regret. Even when you're ill, you cannot regret it because something really wonderful is going to come out of it. And it has.
Excellent.
So I'm very blessed.
Well, thank you. It's been really a pleasure talking with you.
It's been a pleasure talking
great
with you.
story, and I hope that I know you'll inspire people with your story.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you very
appreciate it.
much. All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jordan.
Yeah. It's fun.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.